Hello, my name is Professor David Krasinski, and I'll be your instructor for this course. It's a bit different from the other courses in the curriculum. Most of the other courses focus on individual pieces of a business, functional areas like accounting, marketing, finance, operations, or information systems. In contrast, this course is devoted to the entire business as a whole. By taking this holistic approach, we'll be asking the really big picture questions about how to run a business, such as what determines the total corporate performance of an entire business enterprise? Why do some companies succeed while other companies fail? And what, if anything, can managers actually do about it? I'd like to start by discussing what strategy is. One of the many functions that a good strategy can serve for a company is to be a boundary marker that defines what the company does and, more importantly, what it does not do. Ideally, a good strategy should restrict the company, not to doing what it does best, but rather to what it does better than any other company, which may be different from what it does best. Now, the whole idea of strategy as a boundary marker really is the overall theme for this course. So then in this course, we want to think about strategy as a set of boundaries of what the company will and will not do. And these boundaries are defined by the answers to three very basic, very fundamental questions that I'll discuss one at a time. First, where do we compete? To answer this question, what we need is an attractive market opportunity. We're going to spend a lot of time discussing exactly what it is that makes a market opportunity attractive, but for now, the main point is that even if you have identified the world's most attractive and most profitable market opportunity, it will be utterly useless to you if your company doesn't have the resources required to serve that market needs better than your competitors. So that brings us to the second question. How do we compete? To answer this question, we need resources and capabilities that enable our company to serve the market opportunity better than any other competitor. These resources could be tangible, such as a diamond mine or an oil field, or intangible, such as skills, trust, or company reputation. We are going to spend a lot of time discussing exactly what kinds of resources and capabilities can give your company this sort of advantage over competitors. But for now, the main point is that the answers to these first two questions, where to compete and how to compete, together these two answers constitute what we call strategy formulation. Once you know where you're competing and how you're competing, you have formulated a strategy. Strategy formulation is not all there is to strategy. There's also strategy implementation, which is critical because even if you had the best formulated strategy in the world, it still would be utterly useless to you if your company couldn't implement it effectively. So that brings us to the third question. How do we execute? In answering this third question, we need an implementation plan for aligning our people and organization with our strategy. This would include motivation, incentives, control systems, organization, leadership, and so forth. We're going to spend a lot of time discussing exactly how companies can most effectively implement the strategies they have formulated. But for now, I want to point out that implementation without formulation is just as useless as formulation without implementation. If you happen to formulate a poor strategy in your answers to the first two questions, then it makes no difference whatsoever how good your implementation plan is. Now, in thinking about the overall theme of this course and taking a step back, I'd like you to envision strategy as a three-legged stool. In order for this strategy stool to stand up successfully in the face of determined competition, all three legs must be firmly in place. A successful strategy requires first, an attractive market opportunity, second, the resources and capabilities required to serve the needs and desires of that market better than competitors can, and third, a well-coordinated implementation or execution that aligns the people and the organization with the strategy that you've formulated. If even one of those three legs is missing, then the stool will fall over and the company may fail. Now I want to show you how the three-legged strategy stool maps to the content we will cover in the course. This overall course roadmap is organized hierarchically, and we will return to it many times throughout the term. External analysis covers the tools and frameworks we need to identify our market opportunity, the first leg of the stool. Internal analysis covers the tools and frameworks we need to analyze the resources and capabilities we can utilize to seize the market opportunity. This is the second leg of the stool. Finally, strategy implementation covers the tools and frameworks we need to understand how to successfully execute our strategy. This is the third leg of the stool. This hierarchical roadmap for the course is included in the course syllabus, and we will refer back to it often. If you are ever confused about where we have three basic educational objectives for this course. First, I want you to learn and practice what we call diagnostic reasoning skills, which are quite different from analytical reasoning skills. Analytical reasoning is what you use when you apply logic to find a solution in an orderly, systematic way. For example, analytical reasoning is what computer programmers use to locate bugs in their programs. They systematically turn off one piece of the program at a time until the problem disappears. That way, they can figure out which subroutine was misbehaving and focus their efforts on repairing that subroutine. In contrast, diagnostic reasoning is the sort of skill that you use when you leap to accurate conclusions without having complete information. Basically, diagnostic reasoning boils down to your ability to fill in the gaps in information in order to make accurate conclusions without having all of the facts available. For example, diagnostic reasoning is what an emergency room doctor uses to identify the root problem underlying a cluster of apparently unrelated symptoms. Unlike the computer programmer, the emergency room doctor simply does not have the luxury of taking a purely analytical approach. The doctor can't wait for a million tests to be run, nor can she systematically turn off different organs to find the problem part of the body. She must quickly diagnose the problem in the face of incomplete and imperfect information using her diagnostic reasoning skills. The diagnosis must be right the first time, and there are rarely second chances. Most courses in the curriculum focus primarily on helping you develop analytical reasoning skills in specific functional areas like accounting, finance, operations, or information systems. But this course is devoted primarily to helping you develop your diagnostic reasoning skills. In my view, that's the main deliverable of this course. If we accomplish nothing else in your intellectual development, I will consider our time together as being successful if you can enhance your ability to apply diagnostic reasoning. My second educational objective in this course is for you to practice and improve your communication. If one of our main jobs is to prepare you to deal with and view lectures that help you understand the main, these cases are very controlled because you are given a great deal of information in a very concise package. The cases are also static, that is, they deal with a business scenario at a point in time. However, they also add significant complexity. Some information may be missing, while other information provided may be irrelevant. The frameworks will likely help you analyze the case, but they may not apply perfectly to the cases you analyze. As you write case reports and/or come to class prepared to intelligently discuss your analysis of the case, you will increase your ability to make sense of a complex world and drive to the heart of the critical issues. In other words, these cases will help you take one step closer to the real world. In addition to the cases, articles, and lectures, you will also participate in a business simulation. As part of this simulation, you and a team of other students will develop and implement a strategy for a simulated firm. You will compete with teams made up of your classmates. While the simulation is still a very tightly controlled environment, it adds a dimension of complexity because it's dynamic. That is, market conditions change over time. Some of these changes are predictable, while others are not. You will have to create and refine a strategy and execution plan in the face of an uncertain future with unpredictable competitors. The simulation will help you gain appreciation for the interconnected nature of the three legs of the strategy stool, as well as the importance of integrating strategy across all operating units of a company.